A Shop for Killers episode 3 starts with a flashback to when Jian was 17 years old. She comes back from school to find Thai construction workers working on the house. Jian thinks the house is totally fine, but her uncle and the workers insist it needs fixing. While they are at it, she asks them to install a window in her room. This means she and Jin-man need to stay elsewhere for 2 weeks. Jin-man's solution to this is to hike up Yuri-san mountain. They camp in a cave on the mountain, but Jin-man develops a fever, and Jian's phone has no signal. He's even hurt his leg, and Jian is frustrated. He pulls out a map and tells her to head towards a shelter to get an emergency phone, giving her a slingshot to protect herself from boars. In case she finds herself in danger, he tells her to shout his name out loud 3 times, just like she did when she was stuck in the school basement as a child. When she leaves, Jin-man calls a man named Pazin and tells him Jian is on her way, saying they should let her decide for herself. Apparently, he was only pretending to be sick. He then goes deeper inside the cave and finds a rifle bag hidden. Meanwhile, Jian heads down the mountain and finally reaches the shelter. She opens the door to see dogs chomping on some meat, which soon turns into the cut-off hand she had nightmares about as a child. She steps back in fear when the dogs start to approach her. But Jian uses the slingshot to shoot the scary hyena. One of the dogs bites her hand, and Jian uses a rock to hit it and send it away. She then continues shooting the hyena with the slingshot until Jin-man arrives and saves her. His gunshot finally sends all of the dogs away. They drive away in the car. Jian is surprised that Jin-man is able to go downhill with a fever and a broken leg. He claims to have healed quickly. Jian is mad that he gave her the slingshot while having a gun for himself. Jin-man says that is because she doesn't know how to use it. Some time later, Jian practices using the slingshot in the field near their house. Jin-man gets a gun and teaches her how to use it. In the present, Jian destroys the drone that was attacking Zhongmin. They use the bulletproof cupboard door as a shield to go outside. In the living room, another drone is roaming. Jian uses the slingshot to shoot at it, but it doesn't do anything, and instead, the drone shoots a rain of bullets at them. Then it shoots the black devices and makes the door explode, throwing Jian and Zhongmin into the corner. The drone comes close to them, about to finish them both. Just then, Min-hai, the woman who had tried to enter the house before, shoots a gun, sending a sonic blast that takes down all the drones. She enters the house, knocks Zhongmin off, and asks who he is. As he answers that he is Jian's friend, she injects him with something to make him pass out. Jian comes out with the slingshot and points it at her while Min-hai is holding a gun. Jian shoots her, and they start a fight. However, Jian is quickly defeated. Min-hai mentions something about Jin-man, making Jian confused. However, their conversation is interrupted by a bullet just missing Jian. The bullet is from Song-jo, who is attacking Jian from his van on the nearby bridge. Min-hai kicks Jian back to avoid a bullet, then both of them go hide in the corners. In the house, Min-hai tells Jian that she's here to protect her. She knows that Jian was told to shout out Jin-man's name 3 times in case she was in danger. And in their forearm, there are codes implanted, and anyone who received a code has a duty to protect her. She also knows that Jian only used it 3 times in the last 10 years, when a girl bullied her in middle school, in college when she was sexually harassed, and recently when a shop owner stiffed her. All 3 times, the perpetrator was faced with justice. By shouting Jin-man's name, Jian mobilized all the people who had received a code, and they have to come to help her. Meanwhile, the public address system continues telling villagers that the army is practicing in the field. It's actually a lie made by Song-jo so no one will intervene and help Jian. The group of henchmen prepares for the attack. Then the team leader tells Song-jo they are ready. Meanwhile, Min-hai throws a smoke bomb on the floor, clouding Song-jo's vision. He calls someone, and then a drone is sent in to clear the smoke. Min-hai shoots it down but then gets shot by Song-jo in the arm and drops her gun. Mr. Kim tells Song-jo that dealing with Min-hai will cost more, and he agrees to pay. They seem to know her well and say she is code red and purple. This is when the first scene from the show happens. Jian uses the broom and mirror to find Songjo's blind spots. She jumps off the top of the fridge to get to the other side of the room. When she turns the sofa upside down, she finds a large rifle hidden underneath. She uses it to shoot and hits a window in Songjo's van, but she falls after the shot. Min-hai leverages the chaos to help her get up. And Jong-min also wakes up now. At that moment, the house is surrounded by other men on foot. Min-hai quickly kills a guy who's approaching them. They begin to attack, and Min-hai tells Jian and Jong-min to go to a hidden room in Jin-man's workroom while she covers them. They get to the storage shed, where Min-hai guides them to a locker with a keypad. The passcode turns out to be Jian's school ID number. Jian's face is scanned, and the entire section of the floor moves down like an elevator. It goes down to a massive storeroom, with shelves of guns. Just when they feel they are safe, a masked man comes out of the shadows and points a gun at them. He knows Jian and introduces himself as brother. Meanwhile, Songjo's men enter the shed. Min-hai watches them from the top of a shelf. The scene shifts from the outside of the shed, and we hear a constant gunshot firing inside. A Shop for Killers episode 4 starts in a court somewhere other than Korea, where Jin-man is being questioned. A lawyer asks him if he saw the defendant killing people. The defendant looks at Jin-man and smirks. Jin-man remains quiet, and the lawyer rushes him to give an answer. The scene suddenly shifts to the phone call Jin-man received when he was at home with Jian after his mom's funeral. A man named Jun Cheon tells him that Bale is still alive and after his family with Lee Songjo. Jin-man drives to the hospital and tries to call his brother and sister-in-law, but no one picks up the phone. He almost hits into a car parked in the middle of the road inside a tunnel. A woman runs to him and asks to borrow his phone. He doesn't say a thing and is about to drive away when a truck out of nowhere rams into his car from behind, and a group of people start shooting at him. It's clearly a set-up trap. At present, Songjo's men are spread out in Jin-man's warehouse. Suddenly the lights go out. Min-hai starts taking them out one by one. She kills everyone until only Mr. Kim, the leader, remains. They have a hand-to-hand fight, and even though Mr. Kim knocks her down to the floor, she eventually manages to kill him as well. In the storeroom below, a man named Brother keeps pointing a gun at Jian and Jong-min. He then throws handcuffs at Jian and tells her to put them on Jong-min. She pretends to do so but suddenly drops the handcuffs on the ground, and while he is surprised, she drags him around and holds him in a chokehold until he passes out. She removes his mask. A flashback shows a slightly younger Jian with a boy named Jun Myung. They were dating, and one day, Jun Myung tries to kiss her when he drops her off. Before he can, Jin-man and Pazin interrupt them and demand the boy show his license for driving a bike. He gets sent away by Pazin, and Jian is pissed. Later, we see Jian working at a fast food restaurant while a group of students from her school sit nearby. The boys talk trash about her and her uncle when one girl in the group named Min-suk doesn't support what they say. Jun Myung enters but leaves once he sees Jian there, upsetting her. She comes home and criticizes Jin-man for behaving oddly with the people around her, like her friend Min-suk and her tutor. Jin-man calmly explains that he had valid reasons for each of those times. Min-suk stole his watch that day, but she then apologized and returned it. The tutor was a pervert who got arrested for molestation. And for Jun Myung, it was because he drove a motorcycle without a license and helmet, and he was underage and smoked. Still, Jian feels like Jin-man is locking her up. She says she works so many jobs to move out. Jin-man says he will agree to let her move out if she can hit him in the face once. She thinks he's not being serious and asks if her parents really died an ordinary death. He avoids answering and tells her to hit him if she wants to move out. She tries but easily fails and hurts her feet instead. At some point later, Pazin teaches Jian to operate the forklift in the warehouse. She uses the opportunity to try and hit Jin-man but fails again. Pazin ends up stopping her from going after her uncle, and at Jin-man's orders, he makes her pass out. Jian is furious when she wakes up and sees the two grown men blaming each other. Afterward, Jian goes to Pazin's Thai restaurant and asks him to teach her how to fight. He agrees to teach her Muay Thai for 50,000 won a week. He takes her to the backyard, and they start training. Jian quickly gets better day after day and tries to improve her strength whenever she can. However, she still can't hit Jin-man. One night, Jian comes across a group of boys cornering her old friend from school, Min-suk. Min-suk runs away, and Jian becomes their next target. She uses her new skills to knock down two boys, and Jin-man appears to take care of the third. The police, called by Min-suk, comes soon after. On the way back, Jin-man drops her off at Pazin's restaurant. But Jian finds the police there as well as a group of people from whom Pazin had borrowed money. He seems to have run away but leaves Jian a gift. At present, Jian and Jongmin find a setup of security cameras in the storeroom. There are cameras in multiple places, including her school and the bathroom. Jian is shocked and mad and asks brother how long he's been watching her. He says there's no time for this now, and they need to urgently go help Min-hai since more bad guys will be there soon. When Jongmin puts the light on, brother gets scared as the brightness hurts him. A flashback shows him staying in a dark room when a man approaches him with an umbrella. Jian gives him a hooded jacket and demands an explanation. He starts to talk, but Jongmin jumps in and stuffs cloth into his mouth, telling Jian he's only trying to evoke her pity. When Jongmin goes around to check, brother runs off, saying to Jian not to trust Jongmin. She chases after him but ends up falling down a chute into a small room. Brother closes the trapdoor above her. Down there, Jian finds another setup of computers. Upstairs, brother makes the lights go out and sneaks up on Jongmin, tasering him, and then locking him up to a wall. He then speaks to Jian directly through the cameras and tells her to open a drawer to her right. Inside is a guide for transferring ownership of Mirth Help from Jin-man to Jian. She consents to the transfer and, as the new owner, orders brother to get her out. But once she's out, she takes his gun and orders him to release Jongmin. Brother reveals that Jongmin is the reason Jin-man died. Jian makes brother release Jongmin anyway, but brother still puts a catch pole on his neck. Jian holds a gun pointing at both and agrees to hear brother's side of the story. He says her uncle would never kill himself and tells her to check the video file. She moves to open a video file, but Jongmin dissuades her. In an attempt to convince Jian, Jongmin says he was the one who told Jin-man she was in the school basement all those years ago. A flashback shows a 13-year-old Jian holding a small kitten. Jin-man agrees to let her keep it but warns her that she must take responsibility if he dies as well. Jian changes her mind as she sees Min-hai in one of the security cameras and tells brother to go give her guns and medicines. Before leaving, he gives Jian a pair of sunglasses as a gift. He reaches the warehouse, and Min-hai recognizes him. Downstairs, Jian gives Jongmin a hand to pull him up. He gives Jian a hug and thanks her. But it's really an excuse for him to inject her with a sedative. He admits he was also the one who locked her in the school basement back then. He then gets the gun on the floor and sits in front of the monitor system. Before she passes out, Jian looks at the sunglasses. Through the lens, Jian sees a red dot on Jongmin's chest. A flashback shows young Jian crying over the kitten, who died. At present, she asks Jongmin who he is, and he smiles. Meanwhile, Songjo and his team receive a fancy new gun that can be remotely operated. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and like for more videos like this.